Hi, and welcome back to the Parenting Compass. Today it's all about balance, balancing it all as a busy parent. My name's Toby, husband and father of 6 wonderful children, and I'm full-time working in the care sector in Scotland. And amongst all these different responsibilities, there's obviously going to be times when you just feel totally overwhelmed. There's too much to do. You go to bed and you feel guilty because you didn't have enough time for your kids, for your spouse. Work emails are still sitting there and you're just exhausted, right? And that is going to be really, really tough on you. And oftentimes it's not a good feeling to have. These are the 5 things now that I found really, if I focus on them during times of overwhelm, during time of, nearing that burned out stage, which, we can all suffer from, these things really help me. And the first one is going to be what's most important to me, right? What is my priority number 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth. What is it that I need to get done today that makes the biggest difference on my overall well-being and on the people around me? Sometimes that might be a work commitment. You might have a busy schedule and an important meeting coming up tomorrow, or a report that you need to write that your boss needs from you, whatever it may be. But it's an important thing that you need to do. Then you need to schedule that and you need to make sure that you've got time for that. On other days, there might be, your spouse is unwell and you need to just take time off and care for them, or just cut them some slack in whatever way possible. Same with your kids, right? There might be times where your kid needs somebody to take them onto a school camp, or go and see them during their rehearsal, or whatever else it might be that's important to them. You just have to be aware of that and just make sure that you prioritize the right things. So you don't go to bed feeling guilty and thinking, I wish I would have done that, right? We all have these things. Now, I understand work, especially if you're full-time and providing for your family, is in a way always going to take priority, but you just have to make sure that, what are the times that you would really miss out on, that you must make sure that you schedule in. And closely related to that is really number 2, that's time blocking. So I found time blocking to be incredibly useful, because we just keep writing to-do list after to-do list after to-do list, and but the thing is, it never gets done, right? We've got our calendar is busy with work commitments, with work meetings, schedules that are filled with our family demands and things that we want to get done. So if we don't block our time for the things that are important, for the things that we must get done, then they oftentimes are just going to end up on this to-do list and we will never look at them, right? So if you know what your priorities are, make sure that you block time for them. So if reading to your kids in the evening is really important, make sure it's in the calendar. I know it seems a bit crazy to block out time for family, but I've just found that if you're not clear on what you want to protect and make sure that you've got time for, then something else will come along and take that time away from them, right? So I make sure that I've got all these things that are important in my life scheduled in. My workout is scheduled in, family time is scheduled in, daytime with my wife is scheduled in, alongside all the other work stuff and whatever else. So priority number 1, second is time blocking. The third thing is going to be, in and amongst all these hacks and in scheduling, is just to embrace being good enough, right? What you're doing is good enough. You're working hard, you're caring for so many people around you, you're caring for your loved ones, you always show up, and as a parent you often, you just don't get any downtime, right? So when the kids get up, you're there. When they go to bed, you fall on your sofa exhausted, right? We all get it. So there's an element there where you just need to say, okay, do you know what? I've made sure that my calendar is scheduled out in the way that is most realistic and most reflects what my priorities are. So I've got time for my family, I've got time for obviously work and my personal commitments, and I won't get everything done, and that's totally okay. So, and the fourth one is something I've struggled with myself, actually asking for help, is to say, do you know what? I've looked at all of these things. I've prioritized correctly. I've put in my calendar and I've optimized as much as I can without losing myself. But I just need help. I need somebody maybe to help. Grandparents, can they help with the school run? Because asking for help, asking for somebody to help you in your parenting journey is totally okay. And people are always happy to help, right? If you had a friend who was struggling and was asking you for help, what would you say? You would say, of course. What can I do? So don't be afraid to ask others for help. And related to that for me is really number 5, which is scheduling downtime. because we're always on, right? We try and maybe pursue hobbies. For me, my wife, that's working out early in the morning. Then we've optimized our schedule to make sure we've got breakfast, lunch and dinner more or less prepped in the morning, get the kids to school on time, clean the house, go to work, be there on taxi duty for the kids during the afternoon, and hopefully still find some time for friends as well as for your spouse in amongst all of this craziness. But the other thing that's really important is schedule some downtime. Make sure there's some time in your day, I would say ideally every day really, where you just have a bit of a moment where you can just relax, right? Whether that's earlier, before the kids get up, you get up and you have a cup of coffee. You don't need to do anything much. You could pursue a practice like journaling, you can go for a walk, or even just read a book. If that's your thing, go for that. If it's late in the evening that you want to have time, that's cool too. But just make sure there is a moment in the day where it's just time for you, or maybe time for you and your spouse, where you're just together and you're just chilling out. Because it's so busy and we just get lost in it all and we feel overwhelmed. But that doesn't help anybody, right? It's that old saying, oxygen mask on for yourself first. As a parent, I get it, it's very different and difficult, but just make sure you have a moment in the day that's just for you. So the 5 things I would leave you with is make sure that you know your daily priorities, daily, weekly, monthly, depending. Make sure that you time block. Make sure that you're embracing the notion of being good enough, ask for help and schedule some downtime. Those 5 things have really helped me, and I hope they help you too. But please share in the comments what are the tips and tricks that have helped you in your parenting journey when everything just feels a bit too much. How do you find balance again? Right, see you for the next one.